we're going to talk about how you can change the fields in your house and in your environment to change the energy coming from this 5G, which this is the part that has me jumping out of my chair when I watch these other presentations, because it's like, guys, this is the answer. You can't stop them from setting up all these towers.
Yes.
But if I'm living on a block in California and there's like 3 5G towers going up, like sandwiching me and my family in.
Yes.
I'm going to be lining my house with Orgonite and EMF protection paint and SHUNGITE and everything else that I can do, because you can't just pack up and move.
Yeah.
Not everybody can
it's
do
not
that.
Always a convenient thing for everyone.
So it's like, what do you do? Well, you create a force field around your personal body, around your house, and around your family, and your plants and your animals, everything, and you combat the energy that way with, I think that the deadliest thing against 5G is Orgone energy.
Orgone energy, and this is amazing. When we started this research about almost 3 years ago now, I remember when Val gave me a little puck of the Orgonite. It was an Orgonite puck with some foil shavings and epoxy resin.
Yeah, and you were like, "What is this?"
What is this? I'm a technician, right? And I'm like, "What is this?" But I was suffering. I was very electrosensitive at the time. I didn't even start my heavy metal detox. So what I did know is that, and we were living on the fourth, fifth floor of the apartment in the middle of the city.
Surrounded by cell phone towers.
Yep. I couldn't sleep a wink for like over 2 weeks or so.
And I felt it too.
And I took this puck. I said, well, what can it hurt? I put this in the bed next to me, and I slept like a baby. And after that, ever since I had the puck, and I noticed this dramatic improvement at least being able to get some rest, and that started my path on Orgonite. And so we're talking about the science of Orgonite. It's from what is called Orgone energy. Now in other scientific papers, it's called scalar field or torsion fields. But the discovery was by the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich while observing what he believed was bioelectricity. It was later clarified as a more complex and powerful bioenergetic force. It was a form of life energy at work within living organisms. Now, he observed that in a microscope, around red blood cells, there is a bluish glowing field around the living blood cells and other substances. Now, this bluish glowing energy is what he eventually termed Orgone energy. And the thing is that it's an observable physical phenomenon that's similar to the earlier ideas of the cosmic ether. Now, some of us know that of the Michelson-Morley experiment on trying to be able to measure this ether. Now, they weren't successful in that experiment, but there's still this plenum that exists. And in that plenum is where this energy is coming from, and it can be seen observably through living organisms. Now, the reason why I keep referring to this is he was a scientist. Dr. Wilhelm Reich was a scientist. So he was using the scientific method to find for this discovery. So you can replicate this through a series of experiments. And I have to bring this up because just like with Orgonite, you can replicate its results through experiments that someone else has done. And Orgonite, the word Orgonite, if you type that into the search, it's been kind of marginalized because it's surrounded by a lot of woo-woo and new agey. It's going to open your third eye and open your chakra.
It makes a lot of spiritual claims that cannot be scientifically documented.
That's right.
And we're trying to just really stick to the science behind this, to just say this is a thing that has an effect that really does change the life force around you, and you can measure it.
It's measurable.
You can see it, and let me tell you something, this has completely changed our lives, because it's just, it's amazing. We have Wi-Fi here, right?
Yeah.
But we turn it off, and I can feel the Wi-Fi when it's on.
Yes. And
I'm trying to like lay down and go to sleep, and then I go and I turn off the Wi-Fi box, and I'm still kind of feeling something, and then I have my Orgonite next to me, and I instantly, it just covers and it transmutes the energy field, and it just completely takes away that symptom, because I can feel the Wi-Fi too. You get like irritable, and like you clench your teeth, and like maybe you get headaches, or you're overtired, or you're overstimulated, and you get monkey mind, and you can't fall asleep. Like a lot of people are very sensitive to it, and it's really changed a lot.
That's right. So
because of the Orgonite.
So to cover the Orgonite, we have to talk about the Orgon energy science. So for Wilhelm Reich, he did a series of experiments. One of his investigations, he had to develop what were called enclosures that were lined with alternating layers of stainless steel sheets and plastic or sheep's wool sheets. And he did these in layers for the walls of these boxes. And he called these orgone accumulators. Now what he found is that they would passively create an ambient field that was 2 degrees higher inside the box than what was measured outside the box. He tried to share these results with Einstein and so forth. And he created this whole body of research around this. This field also seems to have an electrical component that was observable by special gas discharge tubes that he created. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so so he ran these series of experiments. Now these experiments, when he observed that the standing field was inside these chambers, they did things like charge seeds before growing these plants that ended up being healthier. He was able to increase garden and plant growth. He was able to speed the healing of burns and cuts. He'd make these large chambers so people can sit in them, and they were able to heal quicker. And in some cases, the claim is he was also able to bring cancers to remission repeatedly through these chambers. Now, he also made some other technologies later on in his development, one called the Orgone Cloudbuster, which was a series of steel tubes. One end of it is grounded into a large water ground, like a well or something.
This is his actual Cloudbuster. And he does like a museum where he used to live in Maine. I think.
That's it.
So this is the original one that he used. That he built.
So, and the other side is open-ended, bunch of tubes, and you point these tubes up into the sky depending on, the wind direction and so forth, or where you are. If you're near the desert, if you want to like bring rain to the desert to irrigate that part of the world. And his claim basically is that the Earth and its weather pattern, even at that time, was imbalanced. And for whatever reason, when he brought this device to these areas of imbalance, he was able to bring the rains and get areas of the desert to even go green. Now this research is well defined. People for the past several decades have been making these cloudbusters. They have one in Algeria. They have one in Algeria. Someone put a website like maybe 2 years ago.
Algeria is a country next to us in Morocco, and there was a local farm there, and they built a cloudbuster.
They showed the photos before. It was like some flat areas,
desert,
just
clay soil, no water, and now they're growing a huge community garden, and it's feeding the entire community because they have water because they built a cloudbuster like this one. And they put Nikola Tesla's name on the side of it. I thought that was pretty cool.
that was good. So so that's what he's done with the cloudbuster.
Okay.
But one of the more popular experiments that was done recently, and you can still YouTube this, I checked this, is Reich blood test. Sorry, if you type that into YouTube, it's a Spanish team, I think, or Spanish or Portugal. They did this test. They replicated his work, which basically you take a blood sample from a series of people. You get 2 blood samples. So one is the control, which is in a wooden box somewhere, and then the other goes into the Orgone accumulator. And now, as you probably know, when you take blood outside the body, it starts to decay. It just starts to die. Okay, and the blood cells start to fall apart. Well, this experiment was to measure the rate of decay of the sample inside the accumulator versus in the control box. And in this experiment, which has been replicated from this high quality laboratory, but also by others, is that the level of what we call vitality is upwards of 70% longer than in a controlled environment in the wooden box. So
sorry, we don't have the pictures for you. I completely forgot to grab that photo because we put it everywhere else though.
But if you YouTube Reich blood test, you'll come across the video. I think it's the top video.
So it's showing you under a microscope that having an orgone energy field around living cells prolongs their life and slows down decay.
That's right. The cells absorb this field, and it makes them last longer.
And it's amazing.
And it's amazing. It shows the blood cells over 15, 25, 45 minutes, and it's amazing. It just keeps it longer. So, right. So now we're going to talk about Orgonite.
Okay, but hang on. So we are obviously running a little over on this call. We only have a few more slides left, but we want to make sure we give you guys the info. So maybe another 15 minutes or so, just to give you guys a heads up.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so we talked about orgone energy, where it came from, how it was based on it's an observable thing that can be replicated. So it's the scientific method. It's the core of science to be able to take this. People are using it to basically water their fields and their for crops. If you're trying to sell your crops and you want to make sure that it gets adequate rain, this technology is obviously good for that. So fast forward to the late 90s. Someone by the name of an Austrian called Karl-Heinz Wells has developed a composite. Instead of layers of metal and non-metal, say, right, I can shrink this down into a composite that inside of it has a bunch of metal flakes, and the composite itself is the non-metal, and it's called Orgonite. A composite material is designed to perform a similar function as the multi-layered walls of an orgone accumulator, or ORAC, but it's more efficient. Now, instead of these large sheets of the accumulator, these metal flakes, they have more surface area, and so they store more energy. And also what they're doing, they're taking these random fields from the environment, and it just makes them a more powerful device. Now, these composites, what do? They passively create low energy negative ions when stimulated by external fluctuations in the environment. So, and we have all kinds of vibrations in the environment. We have RF radiation, the microwaves from cell towers. We have sunlight. We have thermal changes throughout the day. All these different forms of radiation, when they impact this composite emits these low energy negative ions. Now, these negative ions are very beneficial to living organisms and are responsible for the positive health effects that Reich observed in his orgone accumulator experiments. Now, the Orgonite basically takes dangerous fluctuations from these vibrations that we just talked about in the environment and turns them into negatively charged, beneficial, coherent torsion or scalar fields that extends into a large range. So if you got like a few pyramids on the plot, and there's experiments that are done on this Orgonite in gardens, for example. We don't have a photo here, but you can look it up. If you had a plot with no Orgonite, with a bunch of garden plants, and you had a plot on next to that had Orgonite in it, you'll see the change in how these plants perform. But that field, the Orgonite field or the orgone field, extends much larger than that.
I've been collecting pictures too, by the way. I posted something on my Facebook page a while back about our carrots. We have like one control pot, and the one with the Orgonite, the carrots are the stalks are growing much higher, and also we have tomato plants. So we're collecting the photos from our own growing experiments using Orgonite and not using Orgonite, and the difference is like, it's tremendous. You can see that the plants grow much bigger.
Now, I mentioned earlier about Orgonite kind of has this woo-woo mystique around it. Now, understand the inventor, or the person that coined the name, that composite Orgonite, Karl-Heinz Wells, he himself said that the best Orgonite is one that's made out of powders. So it should actually look boring. It should just be like a few flat colors, and that's it, because the metal and the crystals and everything are all pulverized powder.
You'll get a much more powerful scientific effect when you have something that's made out of powders, instead of the really pretty ones that have all these crystals and little coils in them and stuff.
And that's the only reason why we're explaining why this is, because if you go online and type in Orgonite, you're going to see all kinds of artwork in resin, with the blue stones and the coils and stuff.
And they're gorgeous.
And they're beautiful. They're beautiful works of art. But we're talking about something that's supposed to have a specific function to absorb all these random destructive fields and turn it into something that's coherent that's good for life, that makes you feel better, that helps with your cells and things like that. So the properties of the properties enable Orgonite to do the following: passively structure water, and that's why if you do something called the Orgone ice test, to measure the strength of your Orgonite, we make these plates here, these charge plates. You take distilled water with no impurities in it. You know, you can do tap water, but no impurities. You put this inside a freezer, let it freeze solid, and you should get a tornado like this right here. And basically what the Orgone field is, it's freezing the bonds of ice as it's freezing into this pattern. And that pattern is the field effect. Okay?
And there's these little spiky things that come out too. This isn't the best picture of the spikes, but there's this beautiful spike formation that happens in the ice. It's
spikes of bubbles.
It's crystal.
Being elongated.
You can see the energy field, basically, is what.
And now again, this is obviously in glass. This is a glass jar. It's standing on the plate, so you don't have to like put the plate in the water. It's this field goes through things like glass and structures it passively. This
is a great test, because let's get back to the 5G real quick, because what we're talking about here is that the torsion fields, we're showing you the fields that you can create with these composites called Orgonite.
That's right.
And these fields combat the 5G microwaves.
That's right. That's what's happening.
They change the energy. They create a shield or a blocking pattern to block out those microwaves. So if you can take these composites, you can make them yourself.
That's the thing. You can make this and replicate it yourself.
You can get the powders and get some resin, and you pour it 2 steps. We made a video showing you guys how to make it. You can make it yourself and like surround your house with it, so that they can set up as many towers as they want to, and it's not going to harm you and your family.
Yeah, and what's happening is the more these fields, these destructive fields, saturate the environment, the more these type of devices passively take these fields and turn it into something that is coherent for life. Okay, so some of the other applications of this kind of technology is it preserves foods and drinks in the fridge longer. We take these charge plates, we put them in our refrigerator. Yeah. And if you have lettuce and other things that tend to go rotten, especially in the summer,
everything, dairy, eggs. Even meats, it preserves all of the food much longer.
It's amazing.
3 to 5 times longer, and it's great.
Garden plants we found grow healthier. It's consistent with other people doing experiments with Orgonite. Greatly help restore the body's natural rest and sleep patterns. Again, I mean, I was very sensitive, and you have one of these devices under your pillow or something, you're going to feel the difference. It's like you're being knocked out. You can re-energize the body's natural bioelectric field and strengthen its immunity, like if you have an Orgone pendant or one of these bracelets and things like that. And by doing that, it helps shield against the harmful effects of EMF, especially if you're someone who suffers from things like pain from microwave or being close to cell towers, these kind of physical effects that you normally feel. By having Orgonite on or around you, you're going to feel that these effects greatly diminish or disappear entirely. And like we said before, like that torsion field that you see in the screen there on the ice test, these fields extend into the upper atmosphere, especially if you have Orgonite pyramids.
Yeah.
It sends a column of these negative ions straight up, and that's what binds with the chemtrails. So when you have people talking about the chemtrails clearing when it's in the vicinity of Orgonite, that's why. These charges that are going upward bind with the chemtrails are all positively charged. They bind with them, and it creates a current going straight up go skyward, away from the ground. And so that's what's happening there. So
we just got another video the other day. It happens here all the time because of all the Orgonite that we have around.
Yeah.
We're seeing that everywhere around us is all these gray clouds, and they still spray chemtrails here too. But above our house, you see this great big blue hole right above the house, because you can see the fields that the Orgonite's creating is like pushing away.
Yeah, that's right.
All of the chemtrails and the dark cloud cover.
And it's very strong. If you have 4 pyramids or more, you'll see this field extend for miles. I'm talking like 10, 15 mile diameter. It's impressive to see.
So just think about how you could your house alone
Yes.
with an orgone field around it could help to protect everybody on your whole block.
That's right, and that's the
from
thing.
5G. Right?
And you can be strategic. You obviously want to grid your property with this stuff, but you might also want to take some and just kind of plant them in places to help out, your community. And like we said before, not all organites are made the same. Now you know why. It must be made from powders for the best effect. It's based on Dr. Wilhelm Reich's orgone experiments. Now we found powders are the most effective. We found some other research also, just completely independent, because now we're dealing with composites. There was a scientific team that found that iron oxide and quartz powders attenuate microwaves.
Hi, we're Naima and Tavan from Fix the World Morocco.
Everyone is gearing up for the new rollout of the new wireless technology called 5G, and it hasn't proven to be safe.
Many people have been asking questions about what they can do to protect themselves from 5G. So we've been putting out a series of videos to try to help educate and inform the public on just how to do this. There are two main things that you can do to try to protect yourself from 5G that's already out in the areas, and that's being put out more and more in the next coming years.
One is to detoxify your body from the heavy metals, and that's going to be discussed in another set of videos.
But the second thing that you can do is you can change the electricity in the air around you, and you can do that with Orgonite.
Orgonite is a composite that was developed from the technology of the late Dr. Wilhelm Reich. And basically this compound is able to take the stray, harmful electric fields in the environment and turn it into something that is healthy.
So you might be wondering how Orgonite works. So just like Tavan said, it is that composite, and it actually emits ions and does a few other things to actually change the electromagnetic fields in the air around you. So to put it really simple, Orgonite is something that you can just have around you in your home and on your body in order to protect you from the actual microwaves that are coming in from the 5G.
Now, we're very sensitive to electrosmog, to Wi-Fi, all these different forms of electricity in the air, and that's why we started to make Orgonite.
So we used to be sensitive to it.
Yeah.
Right now it's really helped us a lot. And we started making Orgonite for ourselves and then for our friends and family.
Right.
And we eventually turned it into a little small business that we have where we make Orgonite and ship it all around the world.
Our blend of Orgonite is able to protect you against 5G and other stray harmful fields. And we make several products with our Orgonite. We make pendants that you can wear on your body. We also make Orgonite charge plates that you can use to preserve food in your fridge and also to passively structure water. We also make Orgonite pyramids, and the Orgonite pyramids are good to grid your property with so that you can not only transform the fields coming from Wi-Fi like 5G, but also from the harmful effects of chemtrails that come down on top of your home and your neighborhood. And then we also offer Orgonite sleeping pods, which help you get a good night's sleep. We also have garden gift packs of garden pucks and our Orgonite pyramids for your gardens to help your plants grow stronger and healthier.
This is just a brief description of what we make and what we offer, but if you go to our website with the link below this video, we have a different video for each one of these products that describes it completely and what they do. And we also have lots of videos that discuss the science behind Orgonite, how it works, and why it works. And we encourage you to try it because we have some special free offers for free pendants so you can try Orgonite for yourself. We just ask that you pay shipping and handling. And now we're celebrating our first full year of making Orgonite.
We make every piece by hand and we ship it all over the world.
And we've gotten lots of emails sent to us with pictures from some of our customers giving us their testimonies of how much they love our products. We check our inbox every day and do our best to write personal responses to every one of our customers. If you have any questions at all about our products, please feel free to drop us an email at the email address in the link below.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe.
And we hope that you'll join the others who are using Orgonite to help protect themselves from the dangers of 5G. Take care.
Take care.